Good evening, and welcome to tonight's briefing for the Revolution of Reason. I'm Robert L. Blackburn, and I'm an Insurgent General in the Revolution. If you want to know more about this revolution, go to revolutionofreason.com. I've talked in previous videos about changing worlds. Changing worlds is long, and it's a difficult and in the present time, a thankless task. But you do need some rest and recreation. The revolution, if you understand what happened to us, and you understand that you might be able to do something about it, well, you're never going to lose the revolution of reason. Something will attach to you, urging you to follow, informing others of what you've learned, no matter what you call it. So it's going to be with you, but you need some rest from it. Anywhere, anyhow you can find it. The revolution is basically meant to help future generations on infinitum. But we got to have a life too while we're going through it. Stop and still smell a rose here and there. And it brings me to tonight's subject, or topic. The subject is rest and recreation. But you can also have a little humor on the job. I was online, a decade ago, about 2000, and I came across a gentleman in a AI group, online group, from Georgia. He owned a robotics research company outside Atlanta, and of course that's perfect for what I need. I want someone that's in a position to do something about it, to listen to my ideas and let me show them how to actually go ahead and program the human mind in a computer. Well, this gentleman from Georgia was perfect for that. He had the hardware, he had the software, he had the specialists, the scientists there. It was a deal made in heaven. We even got so far as signing a non-disclosure agreement, so that we have to protect each other's information. Well, I don't think anything I tell you here tonight is going to violate that disclosure agreement. But, as I say, we met around 2000, and we had emails, telephone conversations. I sent him diagrams of how mine would work. I explained to him in minute detail how the diagram of the program of the mind itself would very much look like a diagram of a sentence in English. And then I gave him examples of how this program would treat the different symbols when it came across them in accordance with their function in an English statement and so forth. But this went on for quite a while, and he kept saying, well, we got to have you down here to Atlanta and see my operation and what I'm doing. And I said, I'm ready to come. And then when I get ready to come, he would say, well, before you do, I want you to look at this or that program, or this or that analog or system or something, prologue number 2. Have you checked that out? Have you looked at that? What can you tell me about that? And this would just go on, and all I wanted to do was go down and sit down with the man and some of his top scientists there and explain to them my concept and how it would work, and just let's see if we want to take a shot at it. But that we never got that far. It was just one thing after another, that there were these errands or tasks or tests I have to pass before we could communicate further. And finally, one time I got a long email from him, sort of explaining how he was, wasn't a long email, but it was for communication on email, explaining how he was doing a new experiment. he had this robot down there, apparently, and his firm was not into artificial intelligence as I talk about it, a thinking machine. He was more into developing a machine that could empty an ashtray or turn on a coffee pot or do things like that. And apparently he had one machine down there. I don't know how many they had. Maybe they only had the one. I don't know. Never got down there. But apparently they had taught it to, when it came to an open door and a wall that it found, it would go through the door. Well, what he'd done now, his experiment was to take this machine that was trained to go through a door in a wall and put it in front of a wall that had no door. And they were going to turn it on now, and they thought all they have to do is sit back and watch, and independent of any further involvement, this thing is going to develop thought and figure out that they, I don't know what they expected to find out. You see, and that really discouraged me, because the programmer and the operator, they'll know what the machine has the capacity to do, what it's capable of. And if they haven't built in the capability for it to improve upon what its initial capabilities were, it isn't going to change them. It's all it's going to do is what it was programmed to do. So I had needless to say, I was discouraged when I got that, and so many delays and everything that I couldn't help it. Couldn't help myself. I got my word processor out and I got that draw thing from it, and I worked as hard as I could to draw, and it looked just like their robot, their prototype they had, this one that was going to walk up and down this wall looking for its doorway. I had pictures of it, so I drew that robot, and except I had him not facing the wall looking for the door, because there was no door in the wall. I had him turned around facing back toward the people that had sent him up against that wall to look for the door. And then I sent it to the gentleman from Georgia, and I copied everybody in his company that he had put me in touch with that I'd had to deal with and see what they thought about my ideas and so forth. But I had several of them, and so I copied them on this nice little email drawing I had, and it was quite simple. It was nothing but this robot. It had a name. I don't want to use it now because I don't know what that disclosure agreement said. It's been a dozen years ago. I don't know whether maybe it's terminated itself by now, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I sent this email, and all it was this robot standing up at his back to that wall that sent him up against, and had his fingers all extended except the middle one, and that middle one was sitting up in the air, looking back at him. The caption that I put on the thing is, what does a robot that's programmed to go through a door and a wall do when you place it against a wall and turn it on where there's no door? And that's what they received in the mail. Now, I know that's not Saturday Night Live funny, but it was a relief to me. I imagine a couple of his colleagues down there in his company, if he treats any of them like he treated me, I imagine they got a kick out of it. And it did terminate my further efforts and involvement there, which I was fruitless anyway, so that was perhaps the point of the whole deal anyway. But all I'm saying is that you got to have a little fun along the way. Life's too short. We make it kind of mean too, so just enjoy yourself a little bit, and as you whatever you do, whether you're in the revolution or not, this is for non-revolutionaries too, take a little time to laugh. Life's short. Buffy, let's close this show.